I don't like where this is going.
Griphogilla Vertex にライド
Oh hey, you got balls now. If there is one deck that I personally have a hard time working on a deck list, it's definitely Griphogilla because of how open-ended it is and how it actually fits in any nation that is currently available in standards. And yes, I'm including the nation that doesn't have a Dragon Tree marker generator as well. One problem with Griphogilla in general is the fact that it is a very slow deck. And then the balls kick. I mean Vertex. In my opinion, Vertex definitely give the boost that Griphogilla really needs, but how good are those supports? And today, that is exactly what I'm gonna be covering today. How much of the Vertex actually improve upon Griphogilla as a deck, and also how well Griphogilla with Vertex support sync with the 5 main nation right now. I decided to covering just 5 main nation purely because if you're trying to use Vertex to its full potential, you rather go with the 5 main nation thanks to the presence of multiple Hydrogram Vanguards and also Dragon Tree marker generators. But this is gonna be open-ended video, so do leave down in the comments below on what you guys think about each of the nation build of Griphogilla, because let's be real here, I don't have enough time to put a test to every single nation, so I'm really curious what you guys have that I overlook and everything. So let's start off with the balls. Vertex. Vertex definitely bring a very interesting advantage to Griphogilla as a deck in sacrifice of some of the power. You see, Griphogilla Vertex actually sacrifice Persona right and its ability to gain a power linearly and change them into essentially ability to gain a power very consistently and at the same time a power that can be used defensively as well. You see, when you ride into Vertex, during your turn you always get at least 10k and a critical every time. And if you manage to have at least 10 or more sum of Dragon Tree markers and Hydrogram Regards, it also get additional 10k which also apply during your opponent turn, making it defense really good. And also, did I mention that this card is an 18k base grade 11? Yeah, I haven't, but now you know. So that means the defensive game is close to a Gize level, which now that I think back about it is pretty insane. And not only that, the deck also get an improvement on the OT activation skill, as Vertex now no longer just activates simply the OT, but also any trigger that you put it into your right deck face up. But how you're going to put the trigger into your right deck face up? Well, you see, Vertex has an ability when he's on place on Vanguard, he generates a set token called Estologia into a set order zone, which has ability at the start of your main phase. You can put a trigger from your deck into your right deck face up, and you can superior call 1 Hydrogram from your drop zone into Regard Circle, helping you to build that sum of 10 defensive skill. And not only that, Estologia also has an ability where you can discard 1 Griphogilla to generate 1 Dragon Tree marker on any Regard Circle, and then if you decided to take additional damage face down, you remove from play 1 Calamity card, which actually speed up Griphogilla from a turn 6 deck into a turn 5 deck, which is actually huge even for the nation that doesn't have a Dragon Tree marker generator, as you can rely on the nation support to essentially delay until you hit into that point of the game. But then how well it does mix into each of the nation. So just to keep things simple, I'm gonna be rating how well it mixes with the nation in the form of a score out of 10, of course. So the higher the score is, it means that the better it does mix with the nation. Starting off with the Dragon Empire, the offensive nation, I would have to say the Vertex playstyle doesn't really mix well with Dragon Empire.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But fortunately for Griphogilla, there is a lot of very generic defensive option as well as offensive option in Dragon Empire, enough to make it up for that unsingable ability. The reason behind that unsing is because of the fact that the Grade 1 Dragon Tree for Dragon Empire has easily one of the worst synergy with Griphogilla right now that there is small card in the pool in general. You see, Dragon Empire doesn't really gain a lot of soul, or has a lot of card that can gain a lot of soul in a short period of time, and because of that, you rather keep your soul to use it for things like Dragon Dragon 3 Grade 2, which help you to serve for mass order, which help you to chain into the Vertex easier, or you just keep the soul for Esperaridia, which is still one of the best cards to play with Griphogilla after all this time. Though fortunately for Griphogilla right now, there are a few soul options that does play well with Griphogilla and does help you to control the board a little bit better. So with all that in mind, I have to score this 7. Yes, I have to deduct a little bit harsher for the unsync, but I was willing to give a bit more score for how generic the nation is when you play it with Griphogilla in general. And yes, I do take into account of some of the more stronger support for Griphogilla, but overall, you don't really need those. You can just play Dragon Empire generic cards and you are still gonna hit really hard with the deck. Then we have Dark States, and this is gonna be very interesting for you guys as well. As straight out, I have to give this nation a score of 7.5. So where did that 0.5 come from? Well, it kind of come from the fact that the nation does sync well with the current generic support that Dark State has, but also there is one particular sub-engine you can run that actually make it really scary if you play it properly, and that is of course Ignis engine.
NANI?
Because of the fact that Griphogilla is grade 11, you can utilize the cards like Frucracia to actually get a lot of power by using Ignis as a way to get a lot of power in. And not only that, you can use cards like Zagan to essentially get a combo where you put all the cards that you need into Soul and then call it out using Zagan. So it is not a perfect combo, but it does work. And because of that, I have to rate it that score of 7.5. The deduction kind of come from the fact that Darkseid in general just doesn't have a strong generate option that is good when it comes to filtering out cards, which is one of the biggest weakness of Darkseid, and Griphogilla now being a very selfish engine to play kind of clash with it. But I do have to say its synergy with Demonstrator is getting better. Then we have Keter, and oh boy, this is very hard to say because it is a tough nation to test. But in my opinion, I do have to say having Vertex doesn't really improve upon what Griphogilla is capable of doing in Keter to begin with. And because of that, I'm gonna give it 5 out of 10. A little bit harsh, but the problem with Keter as a nation is that it does have a good synergy with Dragon 3 cards that are provided for its nation, but the problem kind of comes in the fact that the generic card of Keter focus so much to the utility side of life that when it is time for them to actually attack and finish for the game, they tend to misfire. Yes, even with consideration of the true generic OT that comes with the DSS05. And with all that, Keter still have problem in finishing the opponent even with a guaranteed OT coming in. And because of that, I will have to put the score down because it doesn't really tip the scale more so than the others, but it just make your deck run out faster, that's all. Then we have Branket, and this is interesting one because in the original video that I said Branket has easily one of the worst synergy with the Dragon 3 card if I remember correctly, but now I think things change a lot for Branket, and that is boiled down to the fact that Estolokia is a set order token, and because of the fact that it is a grade 11 set order token, this means that cards like Skill Pain Dragon actually has a lot of play in this deck in terms of both control and also power. And this is currently the only nation that it actually advises for you to write the Vertex over and over again to get a multiple set order to actually make Skill Pain Dragon attack becomes a lot stronger. And also back in that previous video, I forget to take into account of one particular powerful set order that actually became relevant in the Vertex playstyle, and that is Refurbished Dog. Refurbished Dog allow grade 2's card to actually boost and give you a draw. And because of the fact that you definitely gonna run Cyber Kaitu in your deck, this means that you can put your Cyber Kaitu in the back row, essentially protecting it from being retired by battle, making it a lot more easier for Vertex to actually achieve the sum of 10 condition that it has. Overall, I would have to say Branket definitely see a long way in terms of the improvement, so I'm gonna give this a good 8 out of 10. There's still an iffy aspect of it because it is still needed to wait until turn 3, as at the time of the recording there are no grade 0 set order, and also you need to rewrite into Vertex to get that additional Estolokia, so I have to deduct some point for the fact that its offensive net scale very slowly but gradually in a good way. Then last but not least, we have Stoic Kia, and and it is still easily my go-to choice for Griphogilla build, and therefore 9 out of 10. The only problem I have to say with Storkia is that it have a similar issue with Keter, where you can't really finish your opponent properly even after during the OT turn. But what does Storkia has and a huge edge over Keter is the fact that its capability to essentially build the board from drop zone, thanks to cards like Roaming Prison Dragon, Beat Ayaswas, and Tearing Malice, which essentially generate what I can safely call a one-card combo. Also, some of the cards that you tend to run 2 or 3 copy of in the other main nation, you don't need to run as much in Storkia build because you can just use cards like Shadow Cloak to just mill out all the order that you need to activate and then recycle it later with Bit Salvage. So essentially, Storkia has already perfected their loop back in DBT09, and the loop is still very consistent and actually has more use now because of the fact that you can recycle Dragon Tree in it from your drop zone better than their peers. It means that it is not tough for you to actually get multiple Hydrogram Regard out on Regard Circle and essentially fulfill that defensive game better. And that is my thoughts on the boss. Vertex, I mean. Overall, an improvement on the main playstyle of Griphogilla. It does become a little bit more selfish for the nation it's supposed to play together with. But what do you guys think? Do leave down the comments below. And that's all I have for today, guys. Take care of yourself, and this is McMegane signing out.